Good afternoon, everyone. Tim Harridge here. Like George is on. You should go ahead and begin typing your questions. Remember, this is content. This is content driven by your questions. It is not scripted preaching. George, are you on? All right. Shows him in the list. But... all right, he's on. Okay. George, do you have audio? I guess not. Okay. Well, I'm sure George will be able to figure out his audio in a second, so let's go ahead and begin. Cheryl asked, working on a pre-foreclosure, got a 2-month extension from the bank. Why did they go ahead and send out a realtor to do a BPO if they gave a 2-month extension? Because they need to get their BPO so that they can begin assessing value, and any of the, if they're doing a short sale or anything like that, they're going to use that BPO. And frankly, Cheryl, mortgage companies aren't the most organized group of individuals. But if they got the extensions, that's all you need. Is it necessary to open a DBA in every county you operated in? For instance, I live in Fort Worth and have a DBA here. Do I need to get a DBA in Dallas and Denton as well if I plan on doing business there? That's a big negative. You do not need to do that. Okay, wow. 10 after 12. We're done with all the questions. I guess you guys just want me to go on an early weekend. No questions. Do I have any idea? Any idea about what, Cheryl? Why the payoff is going up so fast? Oh, well, the payoff's going up fast because they're tacking on forbearance and past due interest and attorney's fees and legal fees and BPO fees, and they tack on any and every fee that they want to. And that's the bottom line, and you have to put your clients in perspective, and you have to just let them know that the reason they're in foreclosure is because they're not paying their bill. So it's not that the mortgage company is adding things. It could be late fees. It can be past due interest. It can be all types of things. It just depends on how delinquent they are and if they're paying anything or nothing or what have you. Joe Arnett, do I understand on investor direct mail that we will be able to do some customization to the postcards in regards to copy and pictures? Yes, it will be. Yes, you will be able to customize a lot more in version 2, which should be done very quickly. Carlos asked, Tim, I posted a wholesale deal on dfwinvestors.com yesterday. Will you be sending out an email blast which will include my posting? No. To answer your question, I'm not sending any email blast out again this week. I've already sent one out this week. But there will be the members email of DFW Investors, and that will go out to this afternoon, and that will drive people to the site, so they should see you there. And the serious investors, Carlos, are checking that website every day. All right. Nobody else has any question. Oh, there we go. Did your frequency change from 21 days and 11 days to 18 days and 11 days for the pre-foreclosure mail outs, and why? It was never 21 and 11, Cheryl. It's always been 18 and 11 because 21 days is when they post the notice. 19 days is when the list is out, so 18 days is when you get your mailer out. So it didn't change. It's always been 18 and 11. The 21 is just the date that the notice has to be filed by. Any suggestions on where to get lead lists? Meaning what? Where to get lead lists? Depends on what kind of leads you need. Tom? I mean, okay, you're talking about zip code mailers. Did you contact Foreclosure Listing Service? The other option would be Melissa Data. Okay, yes, you did. Are they not replying, or? No, Tom, you can go to ListSource. You can go to, it's a bit tough. Yeah, you can go to ListSource. You can go to Melissa Data, and you can go. Oh, there George is.
Yeah, I've been waiting here going, it was on telephone instead of mic. All right.
So Tom was saying he's having problems with FLS and getting a response to buy a zip code. So I was just telling him there's places like Melissa Data and ListSource, and then of course the new investor direct mail portal. You'll be able to buy them on online there too.
Yeah.
So
I thought I told Tom to give me a call, but anyway.
Joe Arnett asked any suggestion of getting a list 60 days, 90 past due on their mortgage? George, I don't know anywhere to do that.
The Black Book place, I think they got in trouble with the FTC or something, and so I called them the other day, and I'm trying to get another lead source. There's another guy that uses a group out of Florida, but I haven't vetted them. I mean, they're, I think that they're all kind of suspect to me, but I'm gonna see if I can get a sample list. So because I do think it's a lead source that is viable, but it's only as good as the vendor that's providing it. So and I've had problems with several vendors before I found Black Book, but then Black Book got their hand slapped, so they stopped doing it. And that's one of the problems is you're supposed to it's kind of a gray area on whether this information is supposed to be provided to other people besides, lenders and of that capacity. So.
Yeah, so Cheryl asked if now that I'm re-involved with HomeVestors, if my time will be limited for student tag-alongs. Are you doing a certain number of months? Cheryl, I haven't done a student ride-along in probably 3 months, and it's not necessarily because my time is limited. It's just because it just doesn't seem like people are going into the portal and finding where it is. It's not something that, it's never been something that I really want to do. I want to advertise. The student ride-alongs are more for the students that are going to dive into all the content, watch all the modules, and then they'll find the Google Calendar links to schedule it. And it has been the summer. I've been on vacation. It's not necessarily HomeVestors that takes up my time. It's me. But if you want, there's a link to my Google Calendar in the portal, in one of the modules. It just comes down to, it's just like my old trick of if I ever give you a book, you're going to have to read the book, because somewhere in the book in pencil in between a line it's going to say, call me when you get here and I'll take you to lunch. It's just I can't can't just give you everything and let you shortcut. I mean, if you want to, if someone wants to shortcut the learning process, they can just pay me about $12,000 and become a HomeVestors franchise, and then will shortcut it for you. George, Randy asked if you're pursuing code violation and have a list of those in violation, which ones would you pursue, i.e., high grass, minimum housing, vacant, etc.? I'd probably just pursue them all.
There you go. That's my answer. I mean, unless there's 4,000 of them, Randy.
Heck, there's 4,000 postcards of 20.
Yeah, that's true.
Divided up into 3 lists. And
yeah. I mean, that's what I talked about last night is, look, once you get on the radar with the city, they won't stop. And they'll keep on coming out and finding new stuff, and they're just, anyway, on properties that I've had, that's what I found is it's like, okay, you got high grass. Oh, now the driveway has cracks. Oh, now there's this in the backyard. Oh, I mean, I'm like, really? Can y'all? I mean, you get on the radar, and that's really what, and that becomes a thorn in an owner's side, and especially if they're not living there, and it's one thing. They know that the city's not going to go away, and they just say, you know what, I'm out of here, and it's just a timely thing that, Randy, your postcard just happens to get there and say, we buy home, we buy cash for houses. So anyway, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. So send them to all. For 29 cents or 33 cents, I think it's a worthwhile lead source.
Well, good. Cheryl, I'm glad you're having good luck with the Roddy pre-foreclosure list. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah, we like nice things.
Right.
Is the new direct mail portal up and running now? It is up and running. It's just not ready for public use yet. There's just a lot of little bugs in it that we're working out. We hope in the next 7 days we'll get it ready to get you guys transferred over. We've already transferred your account information, but not your passwords. So what will happen is I'll have to send you a new link to click on, and you'll go register over there. So it's getting close. It's just we just have to make sure that it's actually ready before we start having people in there telling us what they don't like about it. Tom wants to know, on deals already made an offer, what are the details on good follow-up other than letter of intent? I send out a letter of intent, and then I wait 2 or 3 days, call, make sure they got it, and then after that, if it's a good house and you feel like you got a good chance to get it, you need to call them every day till they tell you, unless they say, look, I got to talk to my brother on Friday. In that case, you put a note in your binder and you call them on Friday and say, hey, you talk to your brother, what do they have to say? And then you just, if they're not going to tell you no, you make them tell you no, yes, or at least why they won't make up their mind right now. And that why may be that they may finally tell you, look, I just need to get 80 for this, and your offer's 50. That's what you got to do.
All right. I had a property with a lady was going to sell her finance. I would not have to pay but $700 to catch up. The 2 monthly payments are $350, but the title search came up with $5,500 federal tax lien and $2,000 credit card lien. Should I pursue it? She owes $32. House sells for $55. You need to run the numbers. You're basically, I guess I'm assuming she just wants to walk away, so you're at $32,700 plus the $22. Which basically make it $35 plus another $55. Raul, you just have to understand that the federal tax lien and the credit card lien do not fall off because you take over the loan. So it's only going to incur more interest, late fees, and things like that. So
yeah, and the last thing you want to do is take that and then stick someone else with that problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna take it over, you need to get it paid off, or don't
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is that 5,500 could have a payoff of 10,000 with interest. So, what I would say is maybe, I mean, it's a lot more work, but maybe go to the credit card lien holder and see if you could settle with them, and go to the federal tax, the IRS, and see if you could settle and say, hey, she's insolvent, she's wanting to sell this property. They're probably going to require, I've done this before, and they want to get an appraiser to come out, and you have to pay for an appraisal. So is it worth it? That's up to you to decide, but the IRS will release their lien from a property sometimes when they feel like the owner's not going to make any money and the owner's insolvent and there's not a lot of equity in the house. So, if you think the appraiser would come in at 40,000, then they'll probably release it because they know, but that's $350 you come out of pocket, and you don't know the outcome for the appraisal. And the same thing with the credit card lien holder. You can go to them and say, hey, would you guys be willing to take $200 and get them to provide a release of lien letter, I guess, and then you could go, you could get the deal done. But outside of that, I would probably walk. Can you explain, let's see, on deals on our email, okay, yeah, great, thanks. She called from the direct mail. Can you explain better the difference between a lien estoppel, an estoppel letter, and just filing a lien in terms of the HOA when someone is behind? I don't know what a lien and estoppel or estoppel letter and just filing a lien in terms of the HOA. I've heard of lis pendens, which is a pending lawsuit, but a lien estoppel, I don't really know, Cheryl, and it has to do with the HOA when someone's behind. So it might be kind of like a lis pendens that, they are behind. We want to put it of record that the owner is behind, and we're preparing to file a lien against, against the homeowner and the property for non-payment of HOA dues. What I would do, Cheryl, is basically contact the management company of the HOA or whoever heads up the HOA and just say, hey, I'm assuming you're talking about the McKinney house that we talked about last night, where the deal, and just get to the point, find out exactly what they're owed, and let them know that, at least how it works for our HOA that I'm a member of. Anytime we have a board meeting like once a month, once every other month, and the management company, we go over all delinquent accounts, and if the management company tells us, hey, we have heard from the owner, they are working towards selling the property, they just need a little bit more time, then usually, we'll allow them another 30 days or something like that. But the best thing I would say, Cheryl, is to contact the management company, let them know. Number one is find out what's owed, and let them know that you're working to get them their money in the next 30 to 60 days. Talk is cheap, so the management company might be kind of snippet with you, or they don't really care because they've heard that before. So just be prepared for that. That they might move towards foreclosing on the house because of non-payment of HOA dues. All right, so you contacted them, they lump everything together, so now you can't get an amount just for the resale certificate. You have, okay, Trek form has place where buyer can put how much for the resale. Yeah, resale certificates, it's a way for the HOA companies to make some money, and it's anywhere from $150 to $295. So just assume that it's going to be $295, Cheryl, and telling you that they can't give you a resale certificate because you're delinquent, I don't think that's accurate. I mean, I don't think that management companies can do that. What you should do, Cheryl, is okay. It's It's $395 plus $100 to expedite. Yeah. So anyway, I would say that you need to have the ability to, bring the delinquent HOA dues current. So anyway, I don't know. I would say that you just need to talk to them and say, we're trying to resolve this. Can you please help? And they know what the management company has an accurate figure of what these people owe on the house. So just don't take no for an answer, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some are. Who is the management company? I'm curious. Cheryl basically said the HOA is worse than the bank. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. All right. Tim, this is a short call.
I know. I mean, I've actually kind of enjoyed the last 5-10 minutes of not having to do anything.
There you go. Come on, guys. Let's talk. You got us. You got 20 years of experience right here on 2 phone lines. So what do you got? I got 20 people. Just kind of. That's good, Cheryl. Cheryl's boasting about the deal. No, you should be. Hey, 7 showings in the last 48 hours. This is good. Yeah, absolutely. Are you marketing? I guess you're marketing it. This deal. You guys are marketing it first to a retail buyer, and I will let you know, Cheryl, that this is my. I'm going to put my real estate, my realtor hat on. If you have, I've always told people, and I don't know what you think. I don't know what Jennifer thinks, Tim, because she's the realtor of the house. But anytime I get 15 people through the house, and no one makes an offer, reduce the price. So my number has always been 15. 15 people, I don't care if they're just, if I have 15 people come through one of my houses and no one makes an offer, the price is too high. Tim, what would you agree, disagree, or
the National Association of Realtors number is 17.
Oh, okay.
17 showings in. You've either got to change the price, the product, or the presentation.
There you go. All right. How else do you usually market to sell a home to attract more calls? I would say, let's think about this. You've got MLS, you've got Craigslist and Backpage. You have advertise in the newspaper or Green Sheet. You've got some banded signs that you could do, and maybe talk to a neighbor that lives on the corner house. Put it in their yard, kind of like a political sign. I've paid a neighbor $50 to allow me to put a sign in his yard for 1 month. I said, hey, on the weekend, I'm just going to give you $50. Can you just make sure this sign is there? And it basically says house for sale, and it pointed down the street. So, but the majority of the people that I've asked have said no. One person said they'd do it for $1,000. Let's see. Marketing a cash deal to retail buyers first, and if payoff goes up too much or too fast, we'll market to investors only. We have estimates for all work that needs, and it isn't too bad. Okay. Marketing as a cash deal to retail buyers first, and if payoff goes up too fast, we'll market to only investors. Okay. Well, most retail buyers don't have cash. So I'm a little confused, Cheryl, on when you say marketing as cash deal to retail buyers, because retail buyers means they have to get a loan. They, retail buyers typically, you're talking about 4% of the market has cash to close for retail. 96% are going to need to get a lender to approve. So my first thing I would ask you, Cheryl, is you're wasting your time if this house won't. You're wasting your time marketing to a retail buyer if their house is in a poor condition. Where it won't be, I guess, approved to get a conventional, traditional loan. I don't think that's the case. I could never open up your private videos, Cheryl. I tried, I guess, last night, actually, and it still shows private. So I don't know if it's my computer.
No, George, if it's private in YouTube, she has to enter your email address in YouTube. Otherwise, she needs to mark it as unlisted.
Okay. Cheryl, did you get that? Mark it as unlisted and send me the link. So, anyway, I think I answered that question. Sometimes, how else do you usually market this? Okay, I've answered that. Sometimes it feels like us versus listing on MLS. Any thoughts, or is that just the way it is? By the way, I have nothing but great experiences with FLS. Oh, thanks, Tom. Sometimes it feels like it's us versus listing it on MLS. I mean, what I would say, Tom, is sellers are always going to go with the route that at first seems like they're going to make, well, I shouldn't say sellers are always going to go with the best price, but if there's an option for them to make more money, then a lot of times they're going to try that route. And it's only when they try it and it doesn't work do they realize that, and that's why I think sometimes you're running into sellers. They're like, hey, I've already talked to a listing agent. They can list it for $189. You're offering me $149? No thanks, Tom. But that's why I think you need to stay in touch with them, because I don't think you're going to have much success trying to talk them out of doing that. You need to support them and say, you know what? I think that you should try that, and then if it doesn't work out, please give me a call, and you do that. You follow it. Now I'm getting some feedback.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry. I was choking the bandwidth.
And then I'm looking at the buy call appointment.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying
okay.
to. I was trying to open.
You know.
I was trying to open something to show people, but it didn't work. Well, there.
We know quite a few that do in our area. I'm trying to see. We know quite a few that do in our network, and we are starting there.
Yeah, so the next question is, join late. I find that some wholesalers are wholesaling properties that are actual realtor listings. I assume do a double close. Any comments on this approach do you advocate? This approach is possible. I'll tell you that the vast majority of the people out there that wholesale properties that are already listed with realtors are simply exaggerating the value and underestimating the repairs in order to make a bad deal look good. Be careful with that, because you don't want a bad name with realtors. Is my comment on that. I don't chase MLS listings. Rawl says he got a call from direct mail, but this person has like 19 properties. How would you go about researching and choosing if these properties are worth more of your efforts? Most of these properties had been bought within 5 years or less. I would call me and work with me on that. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to teach, right? Yeah, Raul, just be careful about phone screening. I mean, this person may have bought them 5 years ago and may have bought them with all cash. He may have bought them with 50% down. you know, you just got to. The first thing I do is I build a spreadsheet of the property, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, and the tax roll value. And if they're rented, you put out the rent rolls. You put out the monthly rent. And then you just call and you have a conversation with the owner and you say, look, you know, looking at these numbers, these houses look like they're going to be worth somewhere between blank and blank, and you just kind of ballpark it. And you say, you know, the rental revenue is looking about this, and then you just you have to do your best at determining the value. I mean, rental values are, I mean, it's harder. It's just harder. I know I'm stuttering here because we're trying to teach you guys how to do algebra, and that's kind of a trick question.
Raul, is this the same one that you sent me on the 28th? You know, like the 29 houses? Because I'm trying to figure out, because I got that spreadsheet, but some of them, I guess there's, what, 19 in Houston, or 7 in Houston, and a bunch up here. Because I thought I got your email and got the rents, but I thought I, you know, sent you an email and said, hey, bedroom, bath, and then we need to get, I mean, because he sent me Tim, and I'll wait for him to answer. Yeah, same email, okay. So basically, the email, that's a good start, and I think I told you the rents, but I guess I'd like to know, and I can find out bedrooms and baths by going on Realist or the appraisal district, but, you know, what's the term of the lease? Where are they? Are they all, they're all rented? Or let's see, I'm looking at, and I'll send this to you, Tim, but.
If you're already looking at it, I mean, you said somewhere in Houston, though?
Yeah, they got some in Spring and Houston and stuff like that. So, but you know, what I needed was bed, bath, you know, and then are we at 8 out of 12 months? Are we at 10 out of 12 months? Are we at 1 out of 12 months? You know, it's kind of like an apartment complex. You want to just vet, you know, the leases and make sure that they're not written you know, I'm sure that what are you kind of committing to, and then what are they, this guy, I guess, lives in Utah, so, you know, did he give you any kind of idea, or he just wants us to make an offer on this? Because I can do that, but some of these houses didn't have square feet and things like that. So bedroom, bath, and then the term of each one. Can you go through and just say, okay, what's going on with the property on Parnell? You know, is that, when was the lease signed, and when does it renew, or when does it expire? So just so you have kind of an idea of what you're getting yourself into. But, you know, I see the rents and I see the tax values, and, you know, you could, if you just want to kind of get an offer, a ballpark offer, you can base it off that. But at the end of the day, I think when you just make a ballpark, you don't, you know, you're just kind of flying somewhat blind. These property values were worth, based on time, up to 2.5. All were rented, and the rent total is 35. Okay. I'm looking at the Excel file, and there's 18 and 9, so 27. Okay. I don't know if that's. Have you done a market analysis on all these, Raul? You know, to see if these rents are. I guess when you say the rents were 35, I think your spreadsheet said 27. 9 and 18, that's 27, yeah. So I don't remember receiving any on owner finance or sub 2. Okay, well, let me see what, he didn't give me an idea. It seems he just wanted us to make an offer. Well, then, bottom line is, I think I mean, a 19 house package for DFW is worth spending some time. But to me, what I would say is, Tim, what would you, I mean, if somebody sent this to you, would you just kind of look at the tax value of 1.6 and kind of look at it and say, hey, you know, I'm thinking 800,000-900,000?
Well,
or would you dig into it a little bit more?
You got to dig into the rental values. I mean, what are the rent rolls showing?
19,000 for you know.
So the rent rolls are showing 19,000, and the tax rolls are showing 1.2, 1.7,
1.6.
So I'd probably go at about 17. I'd probably call them. They're probably worth about 1.75, 1.75. And I'd probably call the guy and say, now look, you know, we're going to be probably somewhere around 1.2, 1.3. Is that something you're interested in? And, you know, at that time, if he says no, get bent, you know, then you know that you didn't waste too much time.
Yeah. Now, how were you using the 19 to determine your, the rent rolls?
Well, I mean, I went to the 19, then I looked at the 1.6 in value. So I kind of went in between because, you know, at 19, at the standard 10%, 1% rule, you know, that'd make it worth 1.9. I don't want to see a $300,000 difference between the tax rolls and the rent value. So just kind of ballparked in the middle, went to about 1.75, you know, kind of right in the middle. So $1,750 at 70%, it's going to be around 1.225. So it's right at 1.25. So I just said be somewhere between 1.2 and 1.3, most likely. And then you see what he says. If he's like, look, if I can't get 1.5, there's no need in talking about this. And that's when I would look at it and say, okay, well, you got a $19,000 rent at 80%, or I'm sorry, $19,000 times 80 times rent is 1.52. So you could probably wholesale them at 1.5 to 1.55, just depending on the condition of the property. But you don't want to start at 1.5. You need to start at 1.3. I mean, 1.2, 1.3, you got a ballparking, see what he's actually thinking, and then, you know, from there, then it just depends on the type of assets they are. Are they Class A, B, C? Are they rented on month to month? Or are they all Section 8? Because if they're all Section 8, that's one of the things that's dragging the value up. And there's a lot of the people that do pay a little bit more for rentals don't lease to Section 8. They only go straight private rental. That way they have more control. That's just a short dissertation on the 18 million things you got to think about.
Good stuff.
So Raul, that's a great package. I'd ballpark him 1.2, 1.3, see what he says, and then if he's interested, get me or George involved to help you close the deal. Tom, on an owner finance or sub 2, what's a good down payment to ask? 10%. I always ask for 5 to 10%. It's hard to get 10%. I normally get 5.
Mm-hmm. All right. When you have a signed contract and bank started working, hold on. Okay. When you have a signed contract and bank started working with them for loan mod, or if they declare bankruptcy or something, so you step back, do you have a certain approach that you stay in touch with them? What percent wind up at risk of going to auction again? And of that percent, how many of you then you get under contract and close on? So I think you're talking about from 2 months ago you were dealing, maybe not, but I'm just going to assume that you had some people, some sellers that were posted for foreclosure. They worked it out with the bank to postpone the auction to, whether they did a loan mod or got back engaged with the bank. I would say that there's usually about an 80% chance that property is they're going to fall in the same situation. So it really just kind of, it's up to you to stay in touch with them. And, I would say, once a month, just give them a call, because, maybe I'd wait 60 days and then I'd give them a call and say, hey, I just want to check in, I'd see how it's going with the bank. And if they say, man, Danny got a new job, things are looking up, then you might just put it on a quarterly, but if they're saying, no, it's working all right, and I just call them every month, give them like 2 months without hearing from you, and then hit them with the first phone call. And out of that percentage, I mean, it's just like anything. There's maybe a 10 to 20% chance the deal is going to work out for you, where but I really believe that habits are hard to break, and if they've had issues before, something's going to happen where they're going to have issues again. And loan mods, I think the statistics are 72% of loan mods end up in default again. So those numbers just don't lie. Just like bankruptcies, it's around 64% of bankruptcies. When someone files bankruptcy, 64% still end up getting dismissed. So those numbers don't lie, and that's why I think it's a 60 to 80% chance that they're gonna default. Something's gonna happen, and they're gonna need to sell. So stay in touch with them. How often? I don't know. I mean, I would say, like I just answered, give them 2 months, and then start talking to them. Maybe it's a postcard, maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's an email. Hey, just wanted to check in. If you ever want to sell, just want to let you know that I'm thinking of you, and call me if you want to sell quickly. Raul, or what other information to talk about? I'm not sure. I mean, I think Tim answered it pretty well. 1.2, 1.3, just kind of throw those numbers out and see what he says. Just say, hey, I've done some analyzing. My number, I'm thinking my number, and I haven't seen these properties. I need to get a little bit more information, but I feel comfortable at 1.2, 1.3. Is that something that you would entertain?
Because they may say, look, they're on the tax rolls for 1.6, and I'm not taking $1 less. And then at that point, it's time to go have a beer at the bar, because you got nobody on the phone other than just a buddy. He's not going to be a seller. And that's the thing that most of the Flip That Contract students have the biggest problem with, is classifying a lead as a dead lead. And, it's not giving up. It's not any of this other stuff. It's just sometimes, and more often than not, someone that calls you may want to sell, and they may not need to sell. Or they may need to sell, and they may not have the equity to sell, or they may not have the terms to sell. So they can want all they want, but it just isn't going to happen with you, unless you just want to make a bad buy and donate to charity. But, you just got to learn sometimes to move on.
All right.
Raul left. I guess maybe we motivated him, and he just decided he was going to hang up on us and go call.
There you go. Let's hope so, Tim. Let's hope so.
So 9 minutes. Should we sing a song? Does anybody have anything?
I've got a song.
I watched
All right. Going once, going
Yeah.
twice. Sold.
Well,